Hey guys, and welcome to the very first ever dun da 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 Imperfect Designs drawing video. Thank you. It has been a long road to get here, but I am really glad to be here with you guys today. And yeah, so this is gonna be me just kind of freeform talking. Sometimes I'll talk about what I'm doing in the video. Sometimes I will talk about what is going on in my life or in the world around us. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Never know what you're gonna get. But we are all in this together, my dudes. And I'm sure that Troy will be proud of us for making yet another reference to that movie. Anyway, so in this video, I decided that I didn't want to draw anything too complicated. I just wanted to kind of draw something that would show off the spirit of Imperfect Designs, and while I'm drawing, I will talk a little bit about why I started Imperfect Designs and what the mission behind that is. So I know you're very excited about that. I started doing these coloring sheets about a year ago. I've been drawing since I was little, and one of my biggest hang-ups probably as a creative person is I'm a perfectionist. And there were many times where I would draw something and it would not measure up to my own standards, and so I either would destroy it or I wouldn't let anybody else look at it. And that was something that I really had to work through. And I love to create, I love to draw and write music and write books and all the things. And I realized that I was getting in the way of my own creative expression. And so when I started really doing these coloring sheets, it was really just a way to kind of relax and unwind. And my friends were really supportive of this, which was a huge thing in turning this into more of a solid venture. And I decided that I wanted to draw for them, and so I started drawing sheets to order. My friends would, sometimes they wanted a Bible verse, sometimes they wanted a mandala or flowers or even just a fun pattern. A lot of times they would just ask me to make something up, and so I would. And again, I would really struggle with it not being perfect, and my friends really helped me understand that it really wasn't about perfection. It was just about me expressing myself. And so as I continued to draw and I continued to get good responses from other people, and really started to understand that it really wasn't about being perfect, I started to form the idea of Imperfect Designs. And one of the cornerstones of this channel and of these books is that you're gonna see me mess up a lot. You're gonna see that I go outside the lines, or they're not straight, or they're uneven, or perspectives are off, or whatever. But that's kind of the point. I don't want it to look computer generated. I don't want it to look unreal. I want it to be a true expression of who I am, and I want you guys to be able to see that as well. So in this video, you'll definitely see many examples of that, and that is on purpose. And I hope that as you guys continue to follow my creations and my journey, that you will feel a little bit of support there, because I know that creative people tend to be perfectionists, and so you probably resonate with a little bit of that. I don't know, but I would hope that this would give you some hope, maybe, or maybe some inspiration that you can share your work with the world, and the imperfections are actually what make it unique and beautiful, and not the fact that it's exactly like a machine or a computer would do it. So I do a lot of patterns and drawings. If you follow my Instagram at Imperfect Designs, you'll get to see a lot of those, and in the future I'll be making drawing videos where you get to see me create those patterns. And but today, this is a new drawing that is not yet featured on my Instagram. I just started randomly drawing, which is how I come up with 99% of everything I draw. Very little planning goes into it, and a lot of times I just start drawing and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? I don't know what's gonna happen, and then it usually turns out fine. I came up with this flower design about 6 or 8 months ago. I really love the way the petals look. It's actually really, really easy to draw. You're literally just layering circles. You're layering circles on top of each other to create that kind of layered look. I just used the word layered like 50 times, but whatever. And then, as far as the concept, I just kind of started with a group of flowers. I didn't really know where it was going, and so that kind of morphed into a vase idea. And, you'll kind of see as we go here that, I kind of flesh out the design from there. And I don't typically do a ton of like what you might call a still life or a portrait piece. I really prefer to do patterns or sayings, phrases, Bible verses, what have you. But again, I just wanted to kind of just sit down and draw, because I think a lot of times what prevents me from drawing is overthinking it and having to have a perfect plan in place. And again, this is not about being perfect, it's about being creative and expressive. So nothing like a good old-fashioned rush of fear to get you going. Really conquering a lot of that in these drawings, and really helping me understand even more about myself with each one. What I'm using to draw with is Hammermill marker paper. It comes in a ream, and it's really smooth, thick paper. It holds ink really well. It doesn't bleed through. I'm using a regular old fine tip Sharpie to draw. I have experimented with other markers, but when I first started doing this, I used a regular Sharpie, and that's just what I got comfortable with, honestly. And I may try other markers in the future, but this is usually my go-to, especially if I'm sticking with black and white, which is what I'll be doing for this video. When I do full color, I like to use Ohuhu markers. And no, I'm not 100% sure I'm saying that right. But they're sort of like Copics, just a little bit cheaper. You can get them off of Amazon. And you'll definitely see some videos where I do some full color versions of my drawings, so you can see different ways that I like to blend colors together. But I mean, as far as my usual practices go, I really prefer just doing the black and white, because again, my goal is to create coloring pages, and then you guys get to color them in and complete the drawing in your own way. So we're kind of coming together and making one beautiful piece of art. And so usually when I color a picture with markers or whatever, it's usually just for my own self, or if someone has specifically asked me to do it. And even then, we have to be pretty good friends for me to want to do that, because it is a lot of work and time. But I do enjoy doing that. I'm really not a painter. I don't like paint, again, because I have a bit of a controlling aspect when it comes to my creative endeavors, and I feel like paint just doesn't listen to me. And so I really do not enjoy paint. I really prefer markers, because I get that same level of fine detailed control that I do with my pens. And so 99% of the time you're gonna see me drawing with markers. I also I've experimented with things like charcoal and pastel in the past, but I really do like the clean line work that I get with a marker. So that is my favorite medium, in case anybody cares. And if not, well, now you know anyways. So I really love experimenting with textures and patterns, obviously. I didn't go super crazy with patterns in this drawing, just because, again, we're doing more of a portrait piece, but you're going to get to see a lot more patterns in upcoming videos. And you can also go to my Instagram, like I said earlier, and see some of what's going to be included in my very first coloring book, which is Imperfect Designs Patterns Volume 1. I'm hoping to release that before the end of the summer, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I am just drawing away. And I can tell you, if you're just now starting out in the filming business, that getting your angles can be a very frustrating thing. And I did not realize how much I cover up what I'm doing with my hands. And so it actually took me a while to figure this out. And I am proud of the way it turned out, even though it is not perfect. And I have had to make peace with that, and you're gonna hear me kind of going back to that theme a lot when I'm talking in my videos. Just kind of really emphasizing that this is not about perfection. This is about expression. And so that's a model that I really follow in all areas of my life, but it's really really comes together when it comes to my drawings. So and also, you might see me repeat patterns or combine patterns a lot in my drawings, and that is laziness, because coming up with new patterns all the time is hard. I do like to troll around on different blogs and websites and different Instagrams and photos, and just trying to get some inspiration for something that could turn into a cool pattern. And let me be honest with you, a lot of times it doesn't pan out. I can't tell you how many times I've had a pattern turn into something that no human eye should ever see. And you will never see those because I have destroyed them. But for the rest of the time, I come up with some really cool stuff, and I really love working with like things that look a little almost optical illusion-y. I wouldn't say I'm super good at that. I'm no MC Escher, but I do love the way that looks, and often the most relaxation that I get from drawing comes from things that are kind of look like they're folding in on themselves, or spinning outwards, or things like that. So that's probably one of my favorite things to draw. Alrighty, well, that was 10 minutes of me talking about drawing. That was really fun. So a little bit about me. I am 24. I am currently working as a cashier at Sam's Club, and it is a good job. I love my job. I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 11 kids, and that's as exhausting as it sounds. My youngest sibling is 5, and we have every age in between right now, and so I've really, as the oldest, I really value teaching my younger siblings. I'm very much a teacher at heart, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this video channel, actually, was to share with people not only whatever artistic ability I have, but also to kind of share some of the life journey I've been through and some of the things that I've learned and continue to learn. And that's a role that I take very seriously with my siblings, and that I hope to take with my children one day. So I am single, and single as a Pringle and ready to mingle. And that's totally cool with me. The right guy comes along when he comes along. And right now I'm just happy to be doing my thing and working hard and saving money and trying not to die of corona. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And, by the grace of God, I have remained healthy through this pandemic, and I have faith that I will continue to be healthy. But, just one day at a time right now, and just really hoping to not get sick. That would be terrible. So a little snapshot into my life. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, unless they're inappropriate or gross, then I reserve the right to ignore you. Ha ha ha. So I'm just gonna be honest, a lot of this talking is just kind of me rambling, and feel free to mute me at any time and just watch me draw. But I figure since you're here, and since we're on this journey together, that you might as well get a little bit of a, peek into my brain. And so this is kind of relaxing, actually, just, me drawing and talking, and, just having a kind of a chill day, and, it's all good stuff. I will say the swirly part on the vases, for some reason, always reminds me of the vine design on Cinderella's carriage in the original Disney animated classic. I don't know if that's where I got it from, but I always think of that when I draw it on there, and I just think it looks really pretty and classy. So there you go. There's random trivia for you there. Also, the texture on the table is supposed to be wood, and it may not look like wood right now, but when you color it in, it will look like wood, and that's what matters. But the cool thing about it is that if you choose to color it something else, it could be something else. I don't know what that would be, but that's up to you. I've done my part. I've drawn the darn thing. You can color it any way you want. Oh, man. Man, I am like 100% extrovert, and this is a lot of talking even for me. Like, I think I do better with like conversation, like with at least one other person in the room. And honestly, I don't require the other person to really talk back to me because I really do a lot of my processing out loud. So sometimes when I'm like working on one of my stories or my drawings and I'm having trouble figuring out what's going on, I'll look at the other person and I'll just start telling them about it. And honestly, before they can get a word in edgewise, I've already figured it out. And I'm like, cool, thanks. And they're like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, whatever. But yeah, I guess I can pretend that this microphone is a person and, you know, kind of the same thing, I guess. The trouble is I don't have a whole lot going on in my brain right at this moment. As soon as I turn this off, I'll definitely come up with like 45 things to talk about. But now that I need to talk about something, I'll never come up with it. I'll just sit here, mindlessly rambling. I'm sure you've muted me by now, but it's okay. I'll just keep recording in case somebody is listening and does like the sound of my beautiful voice. I appreciate you. You're the real MVP. I recently finished Hamilton on Disney Plus. We are in that frame of time, everyone, where Hamilton is still relatively a new thing on Disney Plus. And I will say, I've watched it multiple times. Love it every time. My roommate still hasn't made it all the way through. She really doesn't get it. And we're just praying for her. So just add her to your prayer list if prayer is something that you do. And I think Lin-Manuel Miranda has been getting some mixed reviews from people on his acting, which I think is kind of stupid, honestly. I mean, look, he may not be Leonardo DiCaprio, but I mean, when was the last time you wrote a hit Broadway musical about American history that was also hip-hop? That's all I'm saying. I have a lot of respect for the guy. And also, the stage design was so cool, like the way that it rotated around and stuff. Simple, clean, I absolutely loved it. Awesome. Now, I will say, I wasn't a fan of some of the choreography. I felt some of it was a little bit distracting, but I'm such a music person that's probably why. I'm sure that there are dancers out there who really didn't care all that much about the vocals, but loved all the choreography. But I really love the stage design and how they used such a basic stage to tell so many parts of the story, and it added some really dynamic movement to it. So if you haven't seen Hamilton on Disney Plus, I highly recommend it, especially if you love musicals. It was very, very good, and you learn a lot of history, which is the dream, especially for someone who was homeschooled like me. It's like musical and learning. Yes, hello. I mean, I grew up on PBS Kids. That was every show from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Learning and music. Yes, that's the way to live your life. I haven't seen that High School Musical show spinoff thing. Honestly, I don't know, A, how you could ever top the original High School Musicals. B, I think Disney's trying a little too hard with this new generation, honestly. They're like, wow, High School Musical did so good 20 years ago. Let's make a whole new thing where it's like the same thing but not. And to me, that's just disrespectful. I mean, you had a good run. Let it live on as the cult classic it is. and invent something else. But hey, we all know Disney's not going to do that. They'd rather just buy up all of the other companies around them, like Marvel and Star Wars and National Geographic, and continue to milk the ideas those people come up with. But hey, I still love Disney when they're doing their Disney thing. I love that. I appreciate it. I just get a little bit salty about it sometimes, especially when I'm forced to endure whatever Disney Channel shows my younger siblings happen to be into. Like the one about the superheroes and they're like all teenagers and stuff. It's so bad I can't even remember the name of it. But my siblings were watching it the other day, and I think I lost about 40% of my brain cells, which is probably why I'm still rambling about it, honestly. But I mean, Nickelodeon had a good run with TV shows, and they're still doing a passable job with it. Like, give some honorable mentions to like SpongeBob, hello, iCarly, yes, Drake and Josh, oh yes, Hall of Fame, 100%. Avatar: The Last Airbender, everybody's acting like it just came out and no one knew about it before now, but hey, I actually liked it before it was cool, and I can say that because it came out like 10 years ago. But everybody's acting like it's this brand new thing, and whatever, I'm not bitter about it. But, you know, I just think that that's proof that, you know, just because you're a big corporation doesn't necessarily mean you come up with the best ideas. I mean, who uses a laugh track after every single sentence said in an episode? The laugh track loses its effect, obviously. Anyway, yeah, so I think the Disney Channel has really gone down in recent years, and that is very sad. I dressed up for Kim Possible for Halloween a few years ago, and not many people knew who I was. That was pretty disappointing. I did have one girl ask me if that was if I was the Kim Possible from the live-action remake, and then part of my soul died, and I couldn't even reply to her. I just shook my head and walked away. It was very sad. If you've seen that, that is not what Kim Possible is. You need to find the actual show. That's not what it is. And I was the Kim Possible. Thank you very much. All right. Well, it looks like the drawing's coming along really well. For filming, I use a special mount for my phone, which is what I film from right now. And if you're a professional YouTube artist person, you probably have a really expensive camera setup, so please don't judge me. But fun fact, when it is attached to the table that you're working on, if you bump it, it shakes your camera. And so that is a really fun thing that I figured out. So I'm sure you've probably noticed a little bit of shaking at different points. That's what that is. I don't live on a fault line, and there is not an earthquake. I'm okay, just so you know. But that's been really fun to figure out. And also, if your hand doesn't fit under your camera, you need a new angle. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But all in all, this setup's been working pretty well. I had some kinks kind of figuring it out, but you know, I'm a person who, when I get too deep inside my head, I tend to get frustrated really easily, and I have to just walk away from something for a while and come back to it. So I'd actually tried to film this video last week and couldn't get my angles to work out right, and I just had to leave it alone. And now I've come back to it today, and it has all been fine. So I just needed a few days to calm down. It's all good. I'm sure you guys understand. But I'm definitely one of those people who doesn't realize how frustrated they are until it's probably too late. But other people will tell me I'm frustrated, and then that makes me more frustrated because I'm defensive about why I'm not frustrated. But like, meanwhile, I'm like a really light-skinned person. Like, I'm like practically albino. And as soon as I start feeling any sort of emotion other than completely dead inside, my face tends to turn red. And so sometimes I won't even know that I'm frustrated until somebody asks me if I'm hot and need to sit down and take a drink of water. And then I'm like, what? No, I'm fine. Leave me alone. Gosh. And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just worried about you. And I'm like, don't be worried about me. Anyway, but that's how I get. And so I've had to become a little bit more self-aware. And it's been a journey. You know, being 24 years old, I'm still kind of figuring it out. And my mom has this annoying way of knowing exactly what I'm feeling about things. And I don't even realize it's happening, and then she tells me to calm down, and I didn't even know that I was not calm, and then that makes me uncalm. And so it's this weird cycle that I go through. And so yeah, but my goal is to get a video out at least once a week. So hopefully get that done. And if I don't get it out every 7 days, then I am sorry. But we are not looking for perfection. We are looking for expression, which is actually a pretty good tagline now that I think about it. I should probably put that on the channel somewhere. Anyway, so at this point, we're getting fairly close to the end of the video. Now we've got a nice little window and a table that our vase is sitting on. And again, this, as you can obviously tell, this is really not about realism. I am very, very partial to a graphic, borderline cartoon style of art. I think it's really fun. I think it's more fun to draw and to color in than realistic art. Now, I do have a ton of respect for artists who do extremely lifelike drawings. If I could do that, then I probably would, but I really enjoy this style of art, so I hope that you do too. And definitely let me know if there's a drawing that you particularly like. I don't do a ton of single orders for my artwork, but I'm looking into doing maybe like sets of 5 or so that you can order if you don't want a whole book. So, we'll kind of determine that by popularity, but yeah. And also on my Instagram, if you did not come from there to watch this, you will be able to watch a sped up version of this. So if you want to show your friends how cool and awesome my art is, but they don't have 20 minutes to sit here and listen to me drone on and on about High School Musical and why Disney is out to get us all, then you can show them the sped up version and they will get the gist. And that is all that matters. So anyway, I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it despite my earlier frustrations. And honestly, I feel like the narration is going to be cathartic for me. I feel like that even if everybody mutes me and nobody hears what I have to say, I at least got it off my chest. So this is kind of like free therapy. It's kind of nice. So, I hope you like the finished drawing. I'm calling this one Vase, because there's only one. Vase in the window. And so if that's a drawing that you're interested in having as part of a set, feel free to let me know. And I'll include links to my Patreon and my Instagram in the description. And you can be sure to see some different videos from me, hopefully once a week. So this is Michaela with Imperfect Designs, signing off. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about expression.